In this video, we are going to be introduced to resistivity and Ohm's law. So Ohm observed that the ratio of the electric field to the current density is a constant for a particular material. And we refer to materials that have that linear relationship. So as you increase the electric field, the current density increases proportionally as ohmic materials. And so we refer to that ratio as the resistivity. So you can see the electric field to the current density ratio here, and refer to that as Ohm's law. So this is the actual Ohm's law. We'll discuss the Ohm's law that is used more when you get into electronics courses a little bit later. And we're going to find that this is very idealized. While one would hope that it would actually be a one-to-one relationship, we're going to see that very much like the ideal gas law, it is an idealized situation, so it may not be perfectly linear. If the relationship between the electric field and the current density is not proportional or close to proportional, we refer to that as a non-ohmic material. So we're going to observe both of these when we do the Ohm's law lab, where we're going to work with an ohmic material and a non-ohmic material to see the difference, and that one obeys this proportionality and one does not. Now we do have to keep in mind for resistivity, so the greater the resistivity, the greater the electric field needed to cause a particular current density, does actually have a temperature dependence, because remember, current density contains current, and current is the flow of electrons, but that flow of electrons is not something that is just in a straight line because there are collisions that occur. So the greater the temperature, you're going to find that the more active the interior of the solid is that makes up the conducting material, and therefore more collisions occur, and therefore the drift velocity actually decreases. So the current is actually going to decrease, which means the resistivity has increased. Now, there are some exceptions to that rule. There are some materials that when you increase the temperature, more electrons become detached from the ion, and therefore there's more electrons to flow, and therefore the current actually increases. So we're going to find for a particular material, there's going to be a table provided for resistivity at room temperature. And so those are what you're going to use for fairly standard problems. So if you need a resistivity in order to complete a problem, you'll use the ones at room temperature. However, if it is stated that the resistivity is at a different temperature, so different than the one stated at the bottom of the table of resistivities, then you would need to use this relationship to calculate the new resistivity. And this makes use of what we refer to as the coefficient of resistivity. So it's going to have units of inverse Celsius. And so you're going to see most of them are going to be positive, which is going to lead to the resistivity increasing. There are going to be some cases where they're negative, where those are the ones where some electrons get knocked loose from the ion inside of the material, and thus you find the resistivity actually decreases.